the Navy had a 2-year program. So all the other branches wanted 4. I didn't know anything about the Navy. And I lived right by Fort Knox, close to Fort Knox. So I was like, well, Army wanted 4, Air Force 4. And the recruiter's like, well, we give you 2 years. I go, well, wait, I get the same GI Bill, but I only got to do 2 years. So I was like, well, yeah, I'm doing the Navy. And I said, okay. And then I got in there and met my first ship in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and did my 2 years. And then it was just good. And then I found out I had a guarantee of any A school training I wanted. And I said, well, okay, I want to be a corpsman, which was a medic. And so then they sent me to corpsman school, and then then they paid for college.
Nice.
I mean, I got 2 master's degrees. I don't have, a student loan to pay off. They sent me to school, and then
probably the smartest person we've had.
So I was going to
go. We're balancing this out for you right here, me and Jeff.
My plan was to do 2 years. I was going back to Phi Delta Theta. I said, I'll see you in a couple of years, guys. And then I ended up staying 27. So they were good for me, and I wanted to do 30, but I got to my last tour here, and the tour was up and they wanted me to go back to DC. And I was like, man, I don't want to go back to the DC area. The cost of living's horrible. It's crowded. And, I had a daughter finishing high school. I said, you know what? I said, is there anything else? He said, well, either that or, you send me retire. I said, okay, well, I'll send over requests. So by me putting in my retirement request, it gave me an extra year. Yeah. Because they give you a year to prepare, to separate and all that stuff. They don't just say, okay, you're retired.
See ya. Bye-bye.
5 o'clock today, get out of here, So, but it's good. I wouldn't change a thing of what I did, man. Cool. And I mean, I did, got to see the world, stationed in Guam for 3 years, deployments, Iraq and all that.
So you deployed as a corpsman?
So yes, I was on all my ships were stationed on were amphibs, which were Marines, and all my operations was with Marines. And then I got commissioned. So I was 10 years enlisted, and I picked up a commission, after I finished as a medical service corps officer, which is a healthcare administrator. So I did medical ops, and then all my shore tours were on naval hospitals or naval clinics, and nice. And then I retired here, and I did go to Baptist and work for about 60 days. I didn't like it. I said, man, I'm not doing this. And then my buddy Tom Lewis, he was a retired master chief. He says, hey, you still in the Memphis area? And I said, yeah. He goes, well, we got a contracting position, Bob retired. And I was like, man, I don't know. I'm good, man. I was playing golf on Glen Eagle at this time when he made the phone call. And he's like, well, it pays. And I said, I'll come talk to y'all.
There you go. Money talks, baby.
Yeah, we'll hear you guys out. Sure. And then, and then, of course, I was already doing the music. In fact, we played Music Box the day I retired. What was the name of the place? It was in Arlington. It used to be it was Game Time, and then it was Legacy.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called now.
Yeah, well, it's closed now, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, the night or my retirement ceremony, we played.
We played in there.
We played that night.
Yeah.
We played that night for a party for me, and it was good. And Music Box played. I had some family visiting, my kids and everything, so it was a fun night. So,
throughout your years in the service, did you ever sing and play and have a little, Navy bands together with?
Believe it or not, I used to be scared to death to get in front of people and sing.
Me and you both.
I used to be like terrible. And then when I was in the Navy, we were I think we were in Rota, Spain, and of course they had karaoke, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, man, let's do it." So I got up there and sing, and now it's like I don't care, man. I'm like now, to me, if there's a crowd, I'm jumping around, and dancing, or I'm not doing the stage dives or nothing until I hopefully the Testament on it. But it's fun for me. If there's a crowd, or like I said, if people are singing along, I get into it.
Was that venue that you just mentioned one that ended up on Bar Rescue?
Yep, exactly. It went from Game Time to Legacy. And, I think we played there maybe four or five times before it closed down.